So what is DKUK and why did I start it? Well, simply put, it's a hairdressing salon where clients love to look at artwork while they get their hair cut. So it started from my passion for showing art to people. As an artist, I was always interested in showing art outside of the gallery context. When I moved to London, I felt a bit uncomfortable in the galleries and the contemporary art world. I thought art is really important and should stand up in society. I'd always worked as a hairdresser since I was 17. And I loved hairdressing. I started it because I failed my A-levels from too much nightclubbing and couldn't go to college. I grew up in a small town in the north of England, and there wasn't many creative jobs out there for people to do. And hairdressing was one of them. So just thought you could stand around chatting to people and looking cool. And kind of right to a certain extent. What I didn't expect was how much hard work it would be. So hairdressing had always been there for me, and I decided to move to London to study art in 2004. And when I graduated in 2007, there wasn't a lot of people talking about second jobs in the art world. It was very much more about what you did with your career, what you do with your art practice, what your ideas are. After the global financial meltdown in 2008, conversations started to switch and people were being a bit more honest about what it meant to be an artist working in London and how you would survive and how you would have a second job. I worked for an artist for 7 or 8 years, and it took a lot of confidence for me to bring together the art and the hairdressing and do it in an interesting way. So somebody gave me the keys for their gallery in 2013 in Old Street, East London, very cool little space. So I did this pop-up for a month. I cut people's hair while they looked at art. I did a different art piece every day in this space, and it was completely chaotic, really mad, really fun. We had a different performance art in every day, and we pinned up documentation of the work. It became this living collage. And what was interesting for me was how people came into the gallery that had never been in before because they thought it was a hair salon. So it made art more accessible for people. People felt less scared to ask questions as well, which I thought was really cool. So it was pure fluke for me that art and hairdressing went so well together. I was asked to do an art project in Peckham in 2014, and people had heard of my art salon idea and really liked it and wanted me to do that again here in Peckham. So originally it was supposed to just be here for one weekend. Here we are, 11 years later, still in Peckham, still going strong. So we very much started to show art to new audiences, but over the years, the conversation has changed and people have become much more interested in their mental well-being and mental health, rise in anxiety, especially among the younger generation. And DKUK fulfills a lot of different people's needs. We started to get mentioned on specialist blogs, people that weren't coming here just to look at the art, but they were coming here to avoid the mirror. And for me, that sent us down the rabbit hole that we're still exploring. You know, what can a salon be? What makes a salon? And does it need the mirrors? And I would say absolutely not. So COVID really helped me learn that a visit to the hair salon is not just about how it makes you look, but how it makes you feel. It was amazing to see those first few clients coming back after the lockdowns who'd not been able to get a haircut for a few months and how happy it made them feel. And it made me think that actually the great thing about hairdressing is not how we're making people look, but how we're making people feel. And to me, there is no more of a noble profession than helping people feel good about themselves. So I'm super proud to be a hairdresser and super proud to have DKUK, where I would argue we not only make people look good, but feel much better as well by not having the mirror. You see, the problem with most hairdressing salons is us hairdressers need bright lights to do our work because it's very detailed, difficult work. And bright lights aren't very good for the face. They cast shadows across the face, which is never very flattering. You'd never photograph yourself with bright lights and shadows cast across your face. So I would argue you go to the salon to feel good, but actually looking at yourself in the mirror in unflattering light with your hair slapped down would have the opposite effect. As with most salons, you go to actually feel good about yourself, but after an hour of contemplating your own reflection, staring at yourself, it might make you feel even worse if you're having a bad day. So we found removing the mirrors makes the whole experience much more relaxing. The clients can be present, they can sit down and just enjoy the art, enjoy their tea, and just be in the moment. If you're not staring at yourself, then often in a normal salon, you can end up looking on what's going on behind you. Here at DKUK, we're a very relaxed atmosphere and very welcoming space. A lot of salons I've been to, I've just not really felt like myself. And this was true when I was working in other hairdressing salons as well. I never really felt like I belonged in that industry. In many salons, I've never really felt at home. And this was true when I was working in the hairdressing industry as well. It never really felt like I found my place in the industry. So that's partly what led me to making DKUK. It's now I've got my own salon where I've created the environment with openness and patience and creativity. I love my job again, and I absolutely love being here. So why don't we have mirrors at DKU? Well, as I mentioned, it started off with the art. Over the years, you'd be amazed sometimes. People come and they don't even know that we don't have mirrors. They've just come to us through word of mouth recommendations and such. When they find out, they just raise an eyebrow and say, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." And somebody said to me the other day that they were a bit nervous when they came. They didn't know what to expect. But within 5 minutes of starting the haircut, the stylist reassured them with the consultation and let them know that everything was okay, and really felt much more relaxed. Even people that get a bit nervous in the hair salon, not having the mirror there means that you can switch off. Whereas if you're watching, wondering what the stylist is going to do, then it can just perpetuate that anxiety. So strangely, taking the mirrors away can help to relieve the anxiety even better. I've done a lot of work on the environment and the culture and the atmosphere at DKUK. That was very important to me. And it felt very strange when there was only 2 people working here. But what it's meant is that as new staff have come, they've really slotted into the environment and culture that me and Idi, my first long-term member of staff, have helped create. So things like the music, we have very relaxed music. This helps make a calm atmosphere. And we have 2 playlists, one in the morning, which is super calm and chilled, and then the other one, which is a little bit less calm, but still very calm. And we spent hours on these playlists. Also, the smell contributes a lot to our environment. I actually make the smell myself from essential oils, and we have a diffuser to make the smell really nice. One of the most important things I read when I was learning about culture was taking 100% responsibility. So what that means for me is, as a leader and an employer, if you fall down the stairs, did I warn you that the stairs were there? Is there anything I could have done to help prevent that from happening? And what this means is it gets rid of any sort of he said, she said, they said within the business and at DKUK. It means that we all take responsibility for what's happened and we're all looking out for each other all the time. And that means that it's a much nicer, accepting place to be. We've also thought about the tone of voice that we use. So we try and speak calmly when we answer the phone and in hushed tones around the salon, just to make it, think of it more like a spa than a salon. But also it's not really like a spa and it's not really like a gallery. It's just DKUK. It's its own unique, special little place. So the art plays a huge role in the experience of DKUK, and it's still very much mine and many of the staff's motivation for coming to work. It means that we're serving, as well as our clients, we're serving the art. We're serving something greater than ourselves. Some of the clients come and absolutely love it, get somebody who want to just come and see the exhibitions. But also some clients are not so fussed. They just want to come and get a nice haircut. We offer a silent haircut, and that's really popular with many of our clients. They just want a moment of calm, and that's great. We accept everybody. We don't question you or any of your motivations for coming here. We welcome everybody, whether you're interested in the art or not. It really doesn't matter to us. We're just happy to serve you. This year with the art, we have a freelance curator doing the exhibitions, and that's been great. It's brought a lot of fresh energy into the experience of DKUK. And this is Lucy from Kip Gallery. And they've been coming in and doing artist talks, which have been fantastic. The staff have really been inspired having the artists come in and communicate with their ideas and giving their passion. And that means when people come into the salon and want to talk to us about the art, we're better equipped to help them, guide them through the ideas and inspirations in the exhibition. So something the team does that is always really inspiring to see is when they correct each other and give feedback. So it doesn't matter what level you are, whether you're the new start apprentice or me, the founder, we all think that we can always accept feedback off each other. So a good example would be we're a gender neutral salon. And this is quite difficult to get used to if you're not from originally a gender neutral salon, because hairdressing is a very gendered industry. Your ladies here, your gents here, ladies cut, man's cut. So what's really beautiful to see with the team is when I see them correcting each other. So rather than saying your ladies here, we'll just say your clients here. Did you know their pronouns? No? Oh, yeah, then you should say they or client. Another thing that the team do is really nice to see is when they're helping each other out. So we do a lot of diffuse drying. We're very good with curly hair, and you get good results doing it very low and slow. So low speed, low temperature, just gently drying. But this can take a long time. Often if there's one of the stylists, they'll jump up and just help their team out. So if you get two people working on your hair while you're here, don't think it's because we're trying to rush you through. It's just because we want to do it gently, but also keep you on time. Running a business is very difficult. I'm dyslexic as well. I've been using AI a lot in my decision making and planning, and I found that really inspiring. One really good example has been recording one-to-ones with the staff and then feeding that into AI to ask questions and help me improve my skills as a manager. It acts as this third eye, and I found that very helpful. Another good example would be planning my social media. I might run some ideas by the AI and it helped give me a bit of distance. So how and why did we become a curly salon? That's really interesting because to me it felt like a natural evolution. We didn't set out to become a curly salon. From the research I've done, we're the only curly specialist salon in London that doesn't have curl in the name. But word has gotten around and we do have a huge following of people that come to get their curly cuts here at DKUK. So how did it happen? It was just very natural. Clients would come to us and we always listen to what clients want. Instead, I would say something along the lines of, if you don't blow dry it, would you like me to just dry it naturally? So clients might say, for example, if a client said to me they don't blow dry their hair, then I wouldn't blow dry it for them. I would just dry it naturally. Unless they wanted a big blow dry for an event, then that's a different story. But that was the sort of inkling of how we got into doing curly hair. Just listening to our clients and wanting them to leave the salon feeling comfortable, not like they've had somebody else's taste imposed on them. And if that was a bit of feedback that we've had sometimes, hairdressers can get stuck in a certain way of doing things and may have a certain fixed view about how people want their hair to look when they leave the salon. And for us, it never really occurred to do that. It just felt quite natural. So we started doing more wavy hair, more curly hair. I remember there was this one client who came to me and she had never worn her hair curly. She'd spent years blow drying her hair. And I've just suggested that why don't we dry it curly and see where we get to. And I was doing that client's hair for 5 or 6 years until they left the area. And we nourished their curls and taught her how to use them. She bought all the products and the hair looked fantastic. The constant feedback I was getting was how much easier and better it was to get her hair looking good every day. Because I always think if you're doing what your hair naturally wants to do, it's going to take away a lot of the stress. And it tends to suit people if they're wearing it more naturally how the hair should be and the face shape and stuff. It often find it suits them a bit better. I had another client in just a few weeks ago who just moved here from New Zealand. Literally got off the plane yesterday and really wanted this sort of dykey, very stylish, cool mullet and came to DKUK with a bob and never really got the haircut that they want or deserved. And they were so happy after the haircut, did this really cool little haircut. And to do that transformation without the mirror also adds to the excitement. Often we will bring the mirror over so that people can check for reassurance, but sometimes people don't want it, and that's amazing to see that big change. We had somebody in the other day who had lots of box dye on their hair and wanted to get it orange, and they were actually in here from 10 till 5 p.m. So it was 7 hours. They didn't look in the mirror the whole time. So it was this huge colour job. And it nearly brought a tear to my eye, seeing how happy they were after their 7 hour service and this huge colour transformation. And we've done a fantastic job stripping the colour, bleaching it, and reapplying a second colour. And so that was so nice to see. So we're actually having a lot of people applying for jobs here now at DKUK, and that's really exciting to see. I think it's partly to do with us sticking to the employed model. We pay VAT, we employ people, we give them their holidays. And the reason for this is it gives the stylists a chance to just concentrate on the hair. I don't want them doing anything else except amazing haircuts. I take the burden off their shoulder by looking after all the admin tasks so they can just concentrate on the creative tasks. And we have the calm, welcoming environment and the talk-free haircuts. We have a chattiness scale on the website. Some hairdressers aren't very chatty at all, and I believe everybody should have the chance to become a hairdresser, even if they're not so chatty. So that gives the clients to just explore and find the right stylist for their personality and experience that they're requiring. So yeah, I think all those things contribute towards us having a lot of inquiries from a really good stylist. There's a lot of changes in the industry towards freelance, which can seem appealing at first, but for me, I find it a little bit scary because it means that apprentices won't necessarily be trained. So the next generation of hairdressers won't be trained. And, if you get sick, if you get injured, there's no security there. And people also have to do their accounts and admin, and it takes them away from their craft. Yeah, I've had some people say I was the best boss I ever worked for, which is really nice to hear. I do try and take my role as an employer seriously. And it's taken years to get used to that, because you open a business because you want to make people happy and do nice hair, but actually running a business is nothing to do with those things. Running a business is maths and spreadsheets and logic, which don't necessarily come naturally to me, but I've embraced them and recognized that if I want DKUK to exist, then I need to do those things until I can pay somebody else to do them. Often in other salons, when the owner is working 5 days a week doing hair, they don't have the time and patience to apply to the HR issues, which aren't the most exciting part of the job, but they do facilitate it being a really nice work environment. I have one new member of staff and she's forever saying, "Oh my gosh, there's so many things to think about as a boss." And I'm like, yeah, it is crazy how much stuff you have to think about, and no wonder I get tired a lot. But I have good organizational skills now and a really good task system, which helps me just get ideas out of my head quickly. I use the reminders app on my phone and a very nice fountain pen and a notebook to jot things down using the bullet journal system very quickly. And I'm also using Notion now to plan my marketing content. All these things help get ideas out of my head quickly so that I can just focus on doing what's in front of me. Another benefit of the staff working here is I do one-to-ones with them. And so I set goals, help them get to where they want to go in their career. And we also have affiliates with the Fellowship of British Hairdressing. And I've sent 2 people on their courses where they go and do a residency and meet other hairdressers. One stylist has traveled to New York to work on New York Fashion Week, and another one to Manchester and worked on the HairCon, did a presentation on stage. So we do really help support our staff grow their careers to the next level. What was it Richard Branson said? Train your staff so they're good enough to leave, but treat them well enough so that they want to stay. I think that works really well here at DKUK. What makes DKUK different? We had Humphrey Ocean's show here a few years ago, and he said that in terms of eyeball time on art, nowhere can come close to DKUK. And I said, "What do you mean?" He showed at the Royal Academy with thousands of people visiting the exhibition. And of course, people are only looking at the works for seconds there. Here at DKUK, people are looking at the artwork for up to 7 hours. And of course, they're not going to be thinking about it all that time, but the point is they're existing with it. And I think that's really nice. You're just living with the art and you can think about it for a bit, think about something else, do whatever, but you're there living with the art. And I think that fosters a sort of deeper understanding rather than the pressure of just walking around trying to understand it, looking at the next thing, trying to understand it. And so that's why DKUK is a really special place to be as an art gallery and as a hair salon. It's so welcoming, it's so calm. The team are so lovely. Blessed to have such amazing, inspiring teammates as well. So if anyone would like to come and visit, we'd love to see you. We offer a pay what you can service for the first visit. So that means you can come and pay literally whatever you want. So we have 1 slot of them per day. They're only available with the stylists, like the cheapest price tier that we do. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this video. And if you've made it all this way, please come and see us soon.